Hey there, writers and muse daters. I am super excited today to be here with Dan Kamen. We're going to celebrate some of his writing wins. He's going to share his writing and publishing journey with you, and hopefully you can get some great inspiration out of his sharing today. Dan, thank you so much for sharing with the members of our Facebook group, Write to Publish and Sell Your Novel today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I always like doing the Facebook Lives. I always think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I know you. I know what you're writing, but for those who haven't met you yet, share with us a bit about what you like to write and your most recent work in progress.
I usually like to write anything in the fantasy genre, so fantasy YA or adult. And the most recent one I was working on was a fantasy adult story about a man who's lost his memory and is trying to piece it all together while trying to kind of save the world from falling apart by these evil beings he used to be part of. So,
Dun, dun, dun.
yeah.
Wonderful. I love it. And so you and I met 4-ish years ago now at a writing conference. Where was your writing at that point?
Well, it definitely wasn't where it is now. I mean, um, was lacking a lot of just the general tools, especially revision. I think revision was one of the big ones I was lacking. Um, just a lot of the guidance on what to do. Anyone could sit down and start writing something, and which is great, but you just have an unformed blob at that point. And what do you do with it? Well, there's a lot you need to do with it. And so, once you learn more about revision and are able to then, work that blob into something better, you also learn how to just write better to begin with. So your writing in general on your first, second drafts are just better. So learning all those different mechanics over the years has been helpful, especially with the program I was doing with you. It was great.
Yeah, and as I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you were pitching some agents at that conference back in the day. Was that the case?
Yeah, yeah, that was trying to remember. That was a long time ago,
I
right?
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what we know now is that any agents pitched at that particular event didn't bite. They weren't interested. And
Right.
so at that event, and I only know this because I dug up this photo while I was looking for something else, but you purchased my book, Storytelling for Pantsers, because I've got a
Mhm.
picture of the two of us and you're holding the book. And from that conference, you made the decision to go it on your own, kind of out into the wilderness and try what you could to get this book published. What happened after you made that decision in the next year or so of your life?
Um, well, I mean, a lot of kind of the same. So, I tried with that book and I probably revised it or actually rewrote it, probably completely rewrote it a couple times at least. Um, and then, when that wasn't really working out, so I moved to something else and work on it and rewrite it, then, oh, that's not working. I go, but, in a horrible, uh, torturous cycle of just kind of, oh, that's not working. I'm just going to completely rewrite it. And that's what I kept doing for a while.
So like rolling the stone up the hill and then down it goes, and rolling the
That's
stone up the
that's
hill,
right.
right? Over and over
Yep,
and over
yep,
again.
exactly.
Got it. So, I mean, I know how that would feel for me. How did it feel for you?
Uh, didn't feel great. I mean, when you start rolling the stone, you're like, ooh, maybe this time. But when you start to roll it more and more, it feels the same. And there's a part of you that knows it's the same and it's gonna be the same. And you could get lucky, maybe someone will lift the curse and the stone will go flying over the hill, but you know, I could also win the lottery tomorrow too, maybe. Right.
Without a
So
ticket.
yeah, without a ticket, I didn't even buy tickets. So yeah, how would that happen? Right. So
Okay, so after the umpteenth time rolling this stone up the hill, you remembered me, you reached out to me, you booked a call with me. Why did you do that? What were you hoping to get out of that?
um I just remember seeing, an email come in. You were always on my list of emails, and I'd read them, be interested, and be like, okay, that's nice. And then I don't know what it was. I think, you know, um, my wife was starting medical school at the time, and I was just thinking like, I'm in the same place. She's doing something great, and that's amazing. And I'm like, well, maybe I should be trying something different and doing something different. I remembered we talked, and I remembered, you know, it was a good talk, and you were really smart, and you really keyed in on things on my um on pages that you looked at, and really helping with the pitching as well. And I was thinking like, well, um, maybe I should give this a shot and talk to her again.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we got on the phone and we started off with some hard data, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the first
Mm-hmm.
thing that we did together was I dug into some of the resources that are available to publishing industry professionals, got some real data on what's been publishing. And then from there, talked to literary agents, talked to them specifically about some of your pages, right? You had a number of novels at that point that you had. You were really trying to see, I call it a market viability study, like what is going to work here. How did that influence your confidence to know from data what the pathway forward was?
That was a big help in kind of boosting confidence, because a lot of times, they say write what you like, but you can do that, and that's fantastic. But if you're writing a vampire book after the vampire fade's been over, all the vampires are all done now. Now you're writing a vampire book. Even if you love it, it's probably not going to get published because no one's going to be looking to buy it, right? So if you have a couple things that you enjoy, you want to write, it really makes sense to have an idea of this is what they're looking for or going to still be looking for when you're ready to publish. Um, so having that, as you're supposed to, it gives you more confidence when you go into write. You're saying, well, now I actually have a chance because I'm just not just throwing darts at the wind here and hoping something just blows it and it sticks somewhere. You actually have something you're targeting and moving towards, which was a different feeling than what I've done previously.
Yeah. And as a result of those conversations that I had with publishers, with literary agents, we got bullet pointed lists that came back that said, I love
Hmm.
this, but
Hmm.
I want to see. Da, 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 da. I mean, I don't have to tell you, Daniel, you've experienced this. The most that most writers get from a literary agent is not for me, thanks, not right for my list, thanks, right?
Yeah.
Here you had feedback, specific feedback.
Yeah.
How is that a game changer for you?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, everyone who's, queried an agent gets the kind of the bachelor-esque kind of like, I'm just not feeling the connection right now. It's just not a vibe. You're like, what does that even mean? I don't know what that means. It's so vague. And you're like, is it the market? Is it the right? You don't know. It's worse. It's almost, the worst kind of feedback. If you get some feedback, at least you have something, but it makes you just question everything. But having that tailored kind of like this point, this point, this point, like, oh, well, now I know. And like they say, knowing's half the battle, right? Really, it is. That really is like half the battle. Yeah.
Yeah, and so not only did you have this bullet pointed list, but once I had invited you to join the writing gym, you worked with our specific fantasy coach, and he walked you through every single one of those bullet points and how to
Hmm.
integrate it into your novel, give you feedback on whether or not it was landing. We were really guiding you through those revisions. Talk a little bit about the support and what kind of a difference that made.
It was really, I mean, unlike anything, to have a personalized coach that knows what you need to do to improve your manuscript, because he had this bolted list from agents, and then being able to talk to you, what was it, like twice a week, going over this, and this is what we're going to do. Then let's look at what you did and see that you did it. It's not just, half of it is let's say an agent tells you, oh, fix this, you could fix it, but maybe you don't fix it correctly or in the same or in the way that should have been. And so then again, you're a little bit off on your own. But here it's like, no, no, this was the okay, you did correct here. Oh, but let's change that. So having that kind of two-step revision in a way, right? You revise it and take a look at it again, make sure the revisions are correct. Was huge. I've never experienced anything like it. And it really made me see a lot of flaws in my writing and how I can move forward. And, by the time I got towards the end of the book writing, I could, get a feel for it more. And I was really just like, this is great. It's amazing. I don't even know what to say about it. It was really, I mean, I could read 1,000 craft books, but I wouldn't be able to match that kind of, tailored, personalized work.
Hmm. Very different from a red pen experience where you send it in and somebody sends it back with corrections.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, because one of the goals of the Writing Gym, my writing program, is to give you the skills that you need for your lifelong author career. And so through that process, you learn what your strengths were that you came to the table with, and then for your areas of growth, you had strategies for how to work on those skills. Talk a little bit about that experience and how that built out your confidence, built out these skills that you'll have for your life.
Yeah, like I was saying, the kind of that one-on-one plus the kind of the way the revision works is that, if you're told to fix something, I could fix it. Maybe I fix it in my old broken ways of doing things. I don't know that. But then having a session after that where they teach you like, okay, well, this is what you did here when you revised. No, well, let's try and do it this way. And you go, oh, that's where the real learning comes in, right? I could look at feedback all day and that's not gonna, I mean, some of it maybe I would, pick up on, hopefully, but actually seeing what you've done to fix those mistakes, to address any issues, and seeing if you've done it correctly and see where maybe you're, we all have these little tendencies, little quirks we fall into, and seeing like, oh, that's what I've been doing. That's where I really, really learned from the program is I kind of learned a lot about myself, my own writing tendencies, and what I should pay attention to. And again, that's something you could read, again, craft books all day, but if you don't know yourself and how your writing style is and how you approach things, you don't really, right? You know yourself first. It's the important things. I think that's one of the key things I learned is like how I approach things and then how I should take in that revision and use that to further my work for any work in the future.
That's amazing. I mean, the growth that you had, and as you're talking, Daniel, I'm celebrating you and your investment, the time that you put in, really taking that critique and working with it is really amazing. And I'm also thinking about this idea of writing as a craft, and sometimes that we don't really treat it like a craft in the traditional sense, which was, back in the day, if you wanted to practice a craft, barrel making, or I don't know, weaving, basket weaving, whatever the craft was, you would apprentice for up to 7 years, right? And it would be this kind of feedback, right? You're weaving the basket and somebody's saying, oh, not like that, put it here. That kind of apprenticeship feedback that's looking toward, okay, this person will eventually be doing this on their own, and so therefore they need like quality feedback on the intricacies of this craft. What was that experience like for you to have this apprenticeship to create your author career?
It was great. So, I took a master's program in writing, but the thing that they don't have in those sort of programs, of course, they give feedback on it, but then like, well, here's your feedback, and it's teaching, right? But it doesn't do, like you said, the apprenticeship thing, which, when you think about it, writing is a craft. And unless you have that next level, first being taught this is what you do, then having actually someone look at what you're doing and fixing it along with you, you're left in the wild like me, where you're just like, oh, I'm trying all these things. You're learning, but you're not taking what you're learning and putting that into actual knowledge that you're using. Um, so I think that's what I've found just the best part is all these different things I did pick up in craft books over the years. I can actually take that, what I learned, and actually convert that into knowledge, because now I had someone telling me, oh, this is how you would do it here, and this is what you did here, but you should do this instead. And then I can see, oh, that's what they meant, you know, by, I don't know, having your, character's emotions come out on this part of the page. Oh, I get now what that means. Because, before you could read it, but it just didn't click until someone was there to kind of guide you through it. So that was huge.
Yeah, and I think that the word guide, you chose that word well, because I think that the flip side of the coin, right? There are some people who don't get enough feedback or don't get any feedback. But then on the other side of that same coin, the other extreme maybe is people who are too heavy-handed. So I think about when I was in elementary school, we had this art teacher, and she would take the pencil from you, and she'd be like, no, 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 draw this, and she'd draw on your paper for you, which was great. She was a very talented artist, and I was 8, right? So, having somebody come in and take the pencil from you, do the writing for you, that would detract from your voice. So somewhere in the middle, there's this happy medium where you're getting enough feedback so that you can grow, but it's still your own, and it's your own voice, and you're creating the toolbox. Talk a little bit about how you experience that balance.
Well, it was a really good balance, right? It wasn't like, if I wanted to, I could have hired a ghostwriter and have someone write it for me. But again, that wouldn't be my work, and it wouldn't be what I wanted either. And that was definitely not the case here. It was someone telling you, well, this is what you should do, but do you have any ideas as well? So it was always a dialogue between us about, what to do, and you're constantly being told it's your work. So, if you want to go this way, that's fine. And, it was really a back and forth. It wasn't so much being told what to do, the authoritarian teacher, like, do this, do this, do this. A lot of it was kind of a really, a friendly dialogue. We could do this, or what about this? And, oh, that's a good idea. If this were to change here, and then, that's how it goes. So it was, not just being left in the wind, and I'm just off on my own, but I wasn't, having something written for me, right? It was my own writing. I went, and at nights I was sitting there and I'm reworking, I'm looking at the feedback, going, okay, I can do this. And when you work with someone, who's helping you with those revisions, you're able to hit that medium good path, because they're there throughout, and they're there to kind of, guide you. So yeah, it was again, experience like nothing else, and one that I kind of miss. Actually, it was fun.
Well, we miss you too, Dan. We'll have to have you back for a retreat at some point. We'd love to have you do that. So we have so much to celebrate you for. You have done such great work. You really put in the work, you embraced the coaching, you showed up so coachable, you learned so much. Just the difference between who you were in our first conversation, a year ago or something, and now today is really phenomenal. So you revised your novel to publishable, and at that point, there had been some literary agents and publishers that I'd reached out to on your behalf, who said, as they often do when I have these conversations with them, this project looks great, please send it back to me once you've made the revisions. And the literary agent who gave us the bulleted list sent me an email last week and said, I would like to represent Dan Kamen and his novel.
Wow. Uh, yeah, so that's what's being speechless is like, wow. Wow. I it, that, oh my gosh, you don't know how long it has been. Like that is it's embarrassingly long, but oh my gosh. I I don't even know what to, I seriously don't even know what to say. That is absolutely amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, well, I mean, first, thank you because I, you know, if I didn't do this, I would be still out there, right? I'd just be hitting those same walls over and over and over again. I am just, uh, and and this isn't like your program is really kind of like the first one that because I've tried other things before in the past, but this program is really, where we're talking about all of the benefits and the, great things and the coaching, all that. But I mean, look at it. It's the first one that actually has these actual tangible results, both in me as a writer and now like an agent. Like that's just wow.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah. I am so thrilled for you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, this is no, I just, oh, again, it's been like 8, 9 years of me just flailing around and I mean, in less than a year, look at this. I can't even describe how amazing that is. But it's just wow. Wow.
Yeah. Mm. This is so,
Thank you.
oh my gosh, thank you
I,
for your work and your beautiful book.
thank you. I mean, again, if it wasn't for you, it wouldn't be a beautiful book. It would be a sloppy mess like it was before. But wow.
So as I'm listening to you and watching you, I'm thinking back to the day that we met at that writing conference 4 or 5 years ago. If you could whisper to that person what you know now, what would you tell that Dan?
Boy, for all those years ago, I would have said, start this program sooner. Start it now. Like, do something different now. Um, there's the old saying, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the next best time to plant a tree? It's right now. Um, and I didn't do it back then when I first met you. I should have planted the tree right then and there. Um, but I did not. So at least I did it the third best time, which was, I guess, 4 or 5 years later. But yeah, I would have said just this is what you should be doing. I mean, yeah, I there's a lot I would say to my old self, but that would be the main point.
Yeah, yeah. I know you're feeling speechless, but can you put words to how you're feeling in this moment?
It's just I mean, it's a lot of disbelief. It's something you dream about a lot. You always just imagine it's going to happen, and then all the rejections you think, oh, it's never going to happen, and then it kind of just slowly fades away until it's just like almost the same things like winning the lottery. You're not going to win the lottery, right? You have the 1 in a billion odds, whatever, and so it's just kind of that pipe dream, so to speak, and then but when it actually happens, it's just like I'm still processing it. It happened? Really? That just really happen? And it's just disbelief. And I'm sure, you know, when everything clicks in 15, 20 minutes, I'll be jumping around, um, just all over the walls here. But it's still like, you can't even like, you just don't even believe it. You just, 'cause once you try something that long, it doesn't happen. You think at some point it's never going to happen. And then actually having that, I just again, yeah. So I'm sure it'll be a range from emotions today, but
Yeah,
right now it's still the shock disbelief stage.
yeah. Well, Danielle, I'm beyond proud of you and the work that you've done. And thank you for allowing us in the Writing Gym to be a part of your journey. It's been wonderful, and we will look forward to the amazing things that you're about to do next.
Thank you. Thank you. It wouldn't have been possible without the amazing program. I mean, seriously, I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. I'll be in touch. We'll talk about details, but so proud of you. And thanks for sharing your journey here today with the writers over in Write to Publish and Sell Your Novel. And we will wish everyone, until next time, happy writing.